guys, it's Nurse J at Nursing the Truth. I hope everyone is having a great day. So Nurse J feels a little bit better today. As you can tell, I've done something with my hair, but no makeup, of course. Chasing little Sunny, she's on my chair behind the screen and gnawing herself to death. But anyway, I hope you like the backdrop today. As you see, God Thoth, God Anubis, and my candle going, and I've had a room full of incense. And the gods are with us today, friends. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, friends, let's just don't get too upset about this book of Revelation. You know, all the fundamentalists are going, oh my gosh, this and that and the third. Now, I do understand that the ancients did write some things about the ending of the ages and the cycles and, you know, the things that could come. But as far as this manifestation of what we have all been told, you know, about the sky busting open, the trumpets going, and this man coming down on a white Pegasus horse. This is nothing but Greek mythology. So let's see where this is really stemming from and who really talked about it, friends. So let's dive right into the book of Revelation. Now, it says that the original book of Revelation was written around 500 BCE, and it was a part of a collection of prophecies written by a woman named Heraphil, who lived in a cave near the ancient town of Cumae in Campania, Italy. She was known as the Sibyl, and the populace considered her very prophetic, and she was an immortal priestess, they said. She was one of the several women that prophesied under supposed inspiration of some deity and delivered her prophecies in a frenzied state. Did she have the ayahuasca tea? Did she have a good case of marijuana? She was considered the greatest seer of pagan antiquity. With the discovery of the Vatican scrolls, it is possible to prove that Sibyl's influence reached far and wide, deep into the Christian book called the New Testament. For one of those books was written by her and later became the book of Revelation. Now, Heraphil appeared before the king of ancient Rome, Tarquin the Proud, about 510 BCE. She offered to sell him 9 volumes of her perplexing writings, which said that contained the destiny of the world, and what she called the mysteries of Osiris and Isis. Hallelujah, Thoth. Good going. I like a good trail. And she sold it for the pricey sum of 300 gold pieces. Upon his refusal to buy, the prophetess departed from his presence and burned 3 of her writings in the palace courtyard. She offered the remaining 6 books at the original price. King Tarquin again refused, whereupon 3 days later, the Sibyl returned and publicly burned 3 more of her prophetic writings. Once again, she demanded the original asking price for the remaining 3 books. There was much more local gossip about the strange going-ons and found out that she had burned 6 of the books. His curiosity was aroused to the point that he purchased the last 3 writings at the original asking price. Some historians say that after the king read the 3 books, he called her to have her reconstruct the missing 6 books. She refused, though. Other historians say that after the sale, Sibyl then vanished and was never seen again. The Sibyl's writings, regarded as the mouthpiece of the gods, were recognized as the most instruments in Roman religion and were customarily observed and respected by all Romans. The originals perished in the fire that destroyed the temple of capital Usen, in 83 BCE, and were immediately replaced with copies from other temples. A special priestly college called the Sacris Facundus was set up by Julius Caesar to take charge of the Sibylline books, and its 16 members exercised great influence on decisions of state. Augustus, the first Roman emperor, directed the preparation of additional identical sets of the Sibyl's oracles, and they were supplied to the Senate in Egypt and to the priest in all of the Hellenized lands. Now, if this was already the mysteries of Osiris and Isis, then why the hell you want to supply to the Senate in Egypt when it was already Egypt's to begin with? Whatever. I'm just trying to make a point here. In 12 BCE, he transferred a special pontifex collection to the Temple of Apollo on the Palatine Hill, where it remained until 405, people. Now, why are you going to have these oracles or these writings that were pagan in 405 when the Council of Nicaea took place in 325? All this demonstrated their legal status at their immeasurable worth, while misuse of the Sibyl's oracles was punished by death. For at least the 4 centuries, the Sibylline books were held to be the highest religious authority in the Roman Empire. So you mean to tell me that the Sibylline books or the Sibylline oracles were the highest authoritative religious books held in the Roman Empire? Wake up, friends! Wake up! It's time to wake up! Not sleep, not believe, not just have faith on something you can't see. Put something in your hand where you can see, you can read it, you can feel it, you can touch it. Use your 5 senses. And those are going slowly by the day as well, if you don't know it. So highly regarded with the Sibyl's prophecies that the 4th century church usurped her second book, inserted narratives that dealt with Christian characters, and then said it was a divine revelation given to the Apostle John, given from heaven, and added to their New Testament. Church record states that Cerinthus rewrote the original Sibyl's prophecies to create a falsified version that was adjusted again in the 4th century when it was added to the New Testament. The early church was so concerned that the general populace would learn that its Christian book of Revelation was a forgery, that in 405 CE, the Bishop of Rome ordered the Roman general Flavius Stilco to burn as many copies of the Sibylline books as he could find. There we go, Flavius again, Flavian dynasty again. The Bishop of Alexandria, Dionysius, in 204, had much earlier denounced the book of Revelation as being without sense or reason, a forgery by Cerinthus. You can find this on the web called History of Christianity. And it says the original book of Revelation. So if these books, the 9, the 3, the 1, the 6, were held at the highest esteem of authoritative doctrine by the Roman Empire, then friends, tell me, what is this? And it's supposed to represent the end time of the world, of the age. The 26,000 revolution cycle of time. The zodiacal houses. This is mumbo jumbo, friends. How does that make you feel if you're a Christian and you just hop on my channel today? And I must say that I used to be one. I'm not one anymore. I'm out of that religiosity. The binding of the mind. Look up the word in Latin, religion, and you will run so fast you wouldn't know what to do with yourself. Now let's go check this out, friends. On what other people say about this. Now, Constantine marched into Rome in 313 AD. After setting up his government in Rome, he legalized Christianity throughout the empire. You see, friends, there were so many different Jewish sects of Christianity, Gnosticism, that they had different doctrines. So they just said, okay, we're going to make this a Christian religion, but we're going to write our own book. And take a little bit of this and a little bit of that and sprinkle a little dust on it and then put it in the oven, bake it, and then serve it to you. And that's what we have today. Eusebius, that was a family member of Constantine, and they were all related to Josephus. He became a personal advisor, they say, to him, and he used libraries and books of his day to prepare his book called The Ecclesiastical History. That was done in 324, the year before the Council of Nicaea. And Eusebius recorded the words of Dionysius, the Bishop of Alexandria, in 260 AD. And Dionysius was a student of the more widely recognized Christian scholar Origen. In no uncertain terms, Dionysius claimed Revelation was a forgery. Now this is from Eusebius, okay? And he's the church father. There were other writers of the first 3 centuries who were also recorded by Eusebius as testifying regarding the alleged falseness of Revelation and the involvement of Cerinthius in the matter. What are you going to do with this, friends? If Eusebius writes his ecclesiastical history, and then he writes the preparation of Evangelion, and you can see the other things that he does. Why now do we have this book when they've already told you it is a forgery? And these preachers and these priests in the Roman Empire, knowing this is a forgery, they're saying if you don't get right with Jesus, you will die and burn in hell. And then talking about this serpent that's going to fight with Jesus. And he's going to be put in the pit for 1,000 years. I'm so sick of this crap. It's crap. And then you try to show it to your family members. And they want to say, I don't want to see it. I can't. Friends, this nurse is nursing you to health and the truth. And I'm sorry if you can't handle it. This is just the way I present my information. If you don't like that I raise my voice, I'm sorry. Go hear it from somebody else. Because there's more people that get crazier than I do. Because when they are passionate as much as I am about this mess, I get so upset. It's like my soul wants to burst out. Don't let them trap you, friends. Once you can see through the glass and get through all the smoke and mirrors, you are on your way. You're out of here. You've passed the game. You've went to another level. I don't make these words that come out of my mouth. I don't have a script. I talk off the cuff. God Thoth gives me the words. The words or the thoughts. See what else they say. Cerinthus, he was a Gnostic. And they called him a leader of another heresy. If you weren't into the Roman Empire, you were called a heretic. And they said that Cerinthus, by means of revelation, which he pretended were written by a great apostle, also pretended falsely to wonderful things, as if they were showing him by angels, asserting that after the resurrection there would be an earthly kingdom of Christ, and the flesh and men again inhabiting Jerusalem would be subject to desires and pleasures, he says. Being also an enemy to the divine scriptures with a view to deceive men, he said that there would be a space of 1,000 years for celebrating nuptial festivals. Dionysius also, who obtained the Episcopal of Alexandria in our day, they said, in our second book on promises, where he says, some things as if received by ancient tradition makes mention of the same man in these words. But it is highly probable that Cerinthus, the same that established the heresy that bears his name, designed to fix the name of John to his own forgery. For one of the doctrines that he taught was that Christ would have an earthly kingdom, and as he was altogether sensual, he conjectured that it would consist in those things that he craved in the gratification of appetite and lust, and eating and drinking and marrying, or in such things whereby he supposed those sensual pleasures might be presented in more decent expressions. Thus far Dionysius, but Irenaeus in his first book against heresies adds certain false doctrines of the man that kept more secret, and gives a history in his third book that deserves to be recorded as received by tradition by Polycarp. So let's look at Cerinthus. He was an early heretic, they say. And you can find this on cogwriter.com about Cerinthus, an early heretic. Now it says Cerinthus in the east, while Simon Magus, headquartered in Rome in the west, and proclaimed his doctrine and religion to the empire. There was also a man in the east who was conspiring against God. The man was Cerinthus. So now you have Simon Magus in the west and Cerinthus in the east. Simon Magus, is this Paul, Saul, or is it better known as Josephus in the pen, not in the flesh, friends? Of his birth and origin, little is known for certain. Of course not. Some believe he was a Jew by religion and by nation. Others believe he was an Egyptian origin and educated in Alexandria. Well, I'm here to say I think he was an Egyptian. But in all likelihood, they say, Cerinthus was a Samaritan Jew as Simon Magus was. Now, all of this stuff, I'm not going to read it all. Now, this doctrine that Cerinthus told, he said that the kingdom of Christ would be on earth. But Jesus said, my kingdom is not of this world. So Jesus ain't coming back, people. He says that this kingdom is not, this earth is not my kingdom. That whatever this was, it ain't being here because your soul ain't going to sit here ass when it's gone at the body. And it says that the kingdom of Christ would be on earth, and fond of his body and very carnal, he dreamt of a future according to his own desires. He was a Gnostic Ebionite. Cerinthus was an Egyptian, and if not by race a Jew, at least he was circumcised, they said. They said his doctrines was a strange mixture of Gnosticism, Judaism, Ebionitism. He admitted one supreme being, though, but the world was produced by a distinct and far inferior power. He does not identify the creator or demiurgos with the Jehovah. Not Jehovah, but the angels have both made the world and given the law. Oh, and the creative angels were ignorant of the existence of the supreme God. That's Gnosticism. Cerinthus distinguishes between Jesus and the Christ. And Jesus was just a man, though eminent in holiness. He suffered and died and was raised from the dead, or as some say Cerinthus taught, Eusebius, stating that Cerinthus misunderstood the scripture, was a false apostle, claimed to get messages from angels, and misunderstood the millennium. It should be noted that there will be a millennial reign on earth, but not truly as Cerinthus claimed. Now, Irenaeus said, Cerinthius, again a man who was educated in the wisdom of the Egyptians, taught that the world was not made by the primary God, but by a certain power far separated from him and at a distance from that principality who is supreme over the universe and ignorant of him who is above all. He represented Jesus as having not been born of a virgin, but being just the son of Joseph and Mary according to the ordinary course of human generation, while he nevertheless was more righteous, prudent, and wise. Moreover, after his baptism, Christ descended upon him in the form of a dove from the supreme ruler, and that he proclaimed the unknown Father and performed miracles. But at last Christ departed from Jesus, and that Jesus suffered. So, friends, I'm not going to read all this, but this is the website you can find this on. It's a lot of information. So now we know little bits of the story. We see where a little bit of this and a little bit of that can make up a whole big pot of stew. Until next time, Hotep, Ashe, get out of religion, get into spirituality, go deep within yourself, go in the closet, stay away from the TV and the radio, be quiet, listen to that small, still voice. Until next time, friends, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.